My boyfriend filed a real name report accusing me of misconduct. The guaranteed recommendation quota that originally belonged to me ended up going to his little childhood sweetheart. When I questioned him, my boyfriend said confidently, "I promised Chloe 3 wishes. The last one was helping her get the recommendation to Greenfield University." My face turned cold, and seeing it, he shrank a little and softened his tone. "Even without the recommendation, you can still get in through the college entrance exam. We'll still be together then." I quietly tightened my fists. What I didn't tell him was that my mom had planned to take me back to the UK, and this recommendation was my only chance to stay in the country. When I found Ryan, he and his little childhood sweetheart were taking a walk under the sunset. The petite girl skipped around, walking backward, her face bright with a blooming smile as she chattered nonstop. Ryan held a cup of milk tea in his hand, following her slowly, listening patiently with his head slightly lowered, his gaze filled with indulgence and affection. As she got more excited, Chloe forgot to watch her step, and her foot slipped, sending her whole body stumbling backward. "Chloe?" Ryan called out, quickly reaching forward to pull her back. Caught off guard, she fell straight into his arms, and he instinctively held her slender waist. Their young, warm bodies pressed tightly together with no distance between them, and an ambiguous atmosphere silently spread between the two. Chloe lifted her head in a daze, unconsciously rising onto her toes as she leaned toward his lips. Ryan's breath tightened, as if frozen, and he actually forgot to dodge. Only when I appeared at that unfortunate moment did Ryan snap back to reality. He hurriedly pushed the girl away and walked toward me quickly, his face still carrying traces of panic and guilt. "Samantha, perfect timing. Chloe got the recommendation, and we were about to go celebrate with dinner. Why don't you come?" Before he could finish, I threw a real name accusation letter at his face. "What's this?" Ryan froze for a second and picked up the letter. When his eyes swept over the contents, his face instantly turned pale. "Samantha, I can explain." In that moment, the last bit of naive hope I had turned completely into ashes, leaving only ice-cold emptiness. "Explain what?" "Explain how my boyfriend filed a real name report accusing me of fighting off campus just so his little childhood sweetheart could get the recommendation? Explain how you used my future to fulfill the promises you made to someone else?" Ryan opened his mouth but couldn't say a single word in refutation. At that critical moment, Chloe stepped in front of him without hesitation. "Samantha, what are you yelling about? You were the one with misconduct in the first place." Ryan was just fulfilling his duty as the head of the disciplinary committee. He made sure the recommendation didn't go to someone morally corrupt like you. "What right do you have to accuse him?" Chloe defended him with her full strength, enough to move anyone if I weren't the victim. I let out a cold laugh. "Then why don't you ask him who it was that caused me to get into that fight in the first place?" Chloe had always held deep hostility toward me, because before I transferred here, she and Ryan had always been the school's golden couple, admired by countless people. Even though they had never torn down that thin layer of ambiguity, they would naturally end up together after graduation. Until the second semester of junior year, when I transferred in and everything changed. During the Academy's assessment test, I crushed the competition and took the first place position Ryan had held for years. From that moment on, Ryan's attention was completely drawn to me. From the initial unwillingness and competitiveness, to curiosity and exploration, and finally falling completely for me, Ryan only took 1 month. His gaze was sincere and burning, and his feelings of admiration for me were never hidden. He often asked me to go to the library with him, under the pretense of discussing schoolwork. But I rejected him coldly every time, because back then I was still drowning in the pain of my dad's affair and had completely shut my heart off. Besides, once my mom finished dealing with the property disputes between her and my dad, she would take me to immigrate abroad. With the separation approaching, I didn't want to get entangled with anyone. But fate is always strange. The more you fear something, the more likely it is to happen. After the second year ended, when I was walking home alone with my report card, I happened to see Ryan being cornered and beaten in an alley. At the same time, my dad's mistress, who was pregnant, had shown up in front of me earlier, and threatened me to give up everything that belonged to the Chu family. The anger stuck in my chest had nowhere to go. Seeing them bullying someone with numbers, I didn't hesitate for a second before stepping in. Only later did I learn that Ryan was being beaten because of his little childhood sweetheart, Chloe. Because Ryan had started liking me, Chloe couldn't handle it and impulsively provoked a street thug named Marcus Lee, which ended up backfiring on her. To help his childhood sweetheart out of trouble, Ryan challenged Marcus to settle things once and for all, promising that if he lost, he would never bother Chloe again. But Marcus didn't keep his word and brought a whole group with him. If I hadn't stepped in, Ryan might have ended up permanently injured. The next day I went to the library as usual, but I couldn't bring myself to read. I stared at my phone, looking at the insincere apology message my dad sent, full of excuses for his mistress, and even self-righteously asking me to persuade my mom not to take things too far for the sake of their past marriage. Whatever warmth I had left toward him shattered completely in that moment. My whole body trembled with fury at his shamelessness and heartlessness. It was then that Ryan suddenly appeared and placed a cup of milk tea beside my hand. I looked up to see him smiling with curved eyes. "Thank you for saving me yesterday," he said. Without waiting for me to respond, he sat down across from me and sighed. "So even the legendary top student Samantha isn't as cold as everyone says." I replied coldly, but Ryan was not discouraged by my attitude. Every few days, he would show up in front of me again. Throughout the entire summer break, he never stopped, and in an indirect way, he filled the loneliness inside me. I gradually stopped resisting his presence. On New Year's Eve, I accepted his confession, and we officially became boyfriend and girlfriend. Not wanting to face separation or the pain of a long-distance relationship in different countries, I begged my mom for a chance. As long as I could secure a guaranteed recommendation to Greenfield University before leaving the country, she would agree to let me stay. I held such bright hopes for our future, yet I never expected that to help his little childhood sweetheart get her recommendation, he would actually file a real name report accusing me of misconduct. When I saw the report letter in the teacher's office, I comforted myself that it must have been a mistake, someone else's doing. But in the end, I was only deceiving myself. During evening self-study, as soon as I stepped into the classroom, I heard my classmates whispering, "Samantha always acts so high and mighty, but behind the scenes she's just a delinquent, smoking, drinking, fighting, doing everything." Luckily, Ryan woke up in time and didn't keep getting fooled by that vixen. And he even righteously exposed her true colors to the whole school. Otherwise, letting someone so morally corrupt get the recommendation to Greenfield University would have been a disgrace to our entire Shallow Creek Academy. Chloe sat quietly in the middle of the crowd, listening to everyone attack me with their words. A layer of satisfied delight rippled beneath her eyes, but on the surface she pretended to defend me with concern. "Everyone, don't talk about Samantha like that. Maybe she just made a mistake because she was confused for a moment." Hearing this, the other girls looked at her with sympathy. "Chloe, you're just too kind. That's why you let someone steal your boyfriend back then. But now things are great. Both you and Ryan got the guaranteed recommendation to Greenfield University. You two can finally pick up where you left off. As for that little bitch Samantha, let her rot with her disciplinary punishment." The girl speaking had a vicious smile on her lips, full of wishful anticipation for my downfall. I stood at the classroom door and said coldly, "Before that happens, you might get struck by lightning first." The moment those words came out, the girl's face twisted with anger. "Samantha, who are you cursing?" "You," I replied, tilting my head with a mocking smile. "People who call others vixen all day and stir up trouble end up in tongue-pulling hell after they die." "Samantha, I'm going to fight you." The girl exploded with fury and rushed over to slap me, but I caught her wrist midair and flung her to the ground. "What's going on here?" Ryan walked in with a frown. He swept his gaze across the noisy classroom and reprimanded everyone with a cold expression. Chloe quickly ran over, grabbed his arm, and was the first to complain. "Ryan, Samantha started it. She cursed Jenny to die, and she even hit her." Chloe deliberately cut out everything that happened before and pushed the entire blame onto me. And none of the classmates who witnessed the whole thing made any effort to speak up for me. After all, who wouldn't want to see the once untouchable moon fall into the mud? That included Ryan. Without thinking at all, he looked at me and asked, "Samantha, is that true?" Hearing that, the last bit of hope in my heart completely vanished. I replied, "If that's what you think, then sure," and didn't look at him again as I returned to my seat. At this point, the truth no longer mattered. I would be going abroad soon and would have nothing more to do with anyone here. Their opinions meant nothing to me. Ryan stared at my back, feeling an inexplicable heaviness in his chest. He wanted to chase after me and say something, but the sudden thought of his promise to Chloe stopped him. Until the end of evening self-study, he couldn't find a single chance to talk to me. When he saw me finish packing up and was about to leave without looking back, he finally panicked and blocked me at the stairwell. "Samantha," he said. I stopped. "What is it?" Those short, distant words made clear my coldness. In that moment, it felt as if our relationship had reverted to how it was when we first met, when I kept a cold face toward everyone. Ryan looked a little lost. "Are you still mad, Samantha? I didn't mean to report you to the teacher. It's just, I promised Chloe 3 wishes, and the last one was helping her get into Greenfield University, but her grades aren't good, and the recommendation was her only option, so I had no choice but to report you to the student office." He tugged carefully at my sleeve, pleading softly, "So baby, please don't be mad, okay?" I flung his hand off instantly. "No." I looked straight into his flattering eyes and questioned him sharply, pausing on every word. "Ryan, you make everything sound so righteous, yet you didn't give your own recommendation quota to her. Instead, you made up accusations to report me. Were you really just trying to fulfill your promise to your little childhood sweetheart? Or were you taking the chance to twist right and wrong and ruin me completely? Only you yourself know whether I hid the truth or not." My words clearly struck Ryan's real intentions, and he flushed with shame and anger. "Samantha," he snapped, "I treated you like one of my own. That's why I did all of this. But you twist everything maliciously. You've really disappointed me." I let out a mocking laugh. "Oh, what an honor, doing all kinds of things to hurt me under the excuse of treating me like family." When I returned home, every light in the villa was on. My mom was sitting alone on the sofa. When she saw me come in, she lifted her bright green eyes toward me. "Serena, I already know what happened at school. Are you willing to go back to the UK with me now?" I put down my backpack and sat beside her, curling into her arms like a young cub seeking shelter. With a thick nasal tone, I quietly murmured, as if sensing the silent, overwhelming sadness inside me. Her warm hand repeatedly stroked my back. She gently kissed my cheek and whispered, "It's all right, my love. Everything will pass." In this moment, all her true maternal gentleness was laid bare. As you may see, my mom is British. Back then, she had risked everything for love, crossing the ocean to settle in China with my dad. Later, because my grandparents grew old and ill, she had to travel back and forth between the 2 countries for years. In those days of constant separation, her life was filled with exhaustion and anxiety. Yet during that time, my dad fell in love with someone else. While she was in the UK, fulfilling her duty as a daughter, he was entangled with another woman. 2 years ago, when my grandparents passed away, one after another, the news of my father's affair came at the same time. Faced with enormous betrayal, she didn't even have time to break down. She forced herself to deal with the property disputes and fight for custody of me. Everyone said that foreign wives never stay loyal, and that when a husband cheats, divorcing right away means she was cold and heartless even before marriage. But who truly understood the pain and despair she carried? Not many, including me, even though I clearly knew better than anyone else that I am the last person in this world still connected to her by blood. And yet, I nearly abandoned her once again for someone as undeserving as Ryan. "Mom, I'm sorry." I held her tightly, burying my face deeper into her neck, whispering an apology through the tears. I didn't know how long we stayed like that until my mom gently lifted my face, wiped the tears from the corners of my eyes, and asked me seriously, "Serena, Are you really going to let those people slander you, misunderstand you, and hurt you? Of course not. Ryan and Chloe wanted to use me as a stepping stone, then neither of them should think they'll get away clean. The closer the college entrance exam approached, the heavier the atmosphere became. My classmates wished they could glue themselves to their chairs 24 hours a day. But Chloe was an exception. The recommendation quota was like her life-saving charm, making her even more arrogant than before. During a self-study session, the whole class was busy finishing the assignments that Mr. Jacobs had given us, writing furiously. But Chloe boldly walked up to Ryan. Ryan, Riverdale Plaza just opened a new fried chicken place. Come with me to try it, okay? Ryan was helping another student with a problem at the time. His pen paused, and he looked up. Can it wait till after school? Their business is really good. If we wait, everything will be sold out. Just come with me, okay? She then shot a proud glance in my direction, clearly implying something. Besides, neither of us needs to take the college entrance exam anyway. I pretended not to see it and continued working on my problems. Chloe dragged out the ending of Ryan's name, calling it with a soft, winding tone that made goosebumps rise on everyone's arms. My stomach churned with disgust. I packed my things, ready to leave. Ryan noticed and called out, Samantha, where are you going? This time I didn't stop. Refusing to give up, he reached out to pull me back, speaking earnestly. Samantha, the college entrance exam is getting closer. Every minute and every second counts. Even though your grades are good, you should stay in the classroom as a stabilizing force for everyone, fighting until the end together with your classmates. His words sounded righteous and noble, but they made me sick. I let out a cold laugh. Ryan, you reported me to the student office for misconduct and cost me my recommendation quota. Rumors about me are everywhere. My classmates have probably cursed me behind my back until it's swollen. And now you have the face to ask me to stay and stabilize everyone? Don't you think you're being incredibly fake? My eyes, filled with disgust, fell on him. As if burned, he yanked his hand away instantly. I took the opportunity to leave. Ryan stared blankly at my decisively retreating back, an indescribable loss washing over him. It felt like something had slipped out of his control, leaving him panicked. Chloe saw it all. She was furious. She hurried over to Ryan's side, biting her lip. Ryan, Samantha is too much. You already offered her a chance to fix things, but she still acts so arrogant. She's the one tearing you two apart. In the past, this tactic always worked. But this time, before she finished speaking, Ryan cut her off sharply. Shut up. Chloe froze in shock. Ryan's gaze turned cold. If you hadn't been so ambitious, insisting on getting into Greenfield University, would Samantha and I have ended up like this? Chloe's expression collapsed. Now I've already fulfilled all 3 wishes for you. From now on, I don't owe you anything. With that, he didn't hesitate. He chased after me, leaving Chloe standing alone, her soul drained as if thousands of ants were gnawing at her heart. It was painful, numbing, and infuriating. Ryan chased me all the way to the school gate but was still too late. I got into a car without looking back, leaving him to choke on exhaust smoke. Ever since I confirmed I would go abroad, I no longer needed to stay at school all day. I could come and go freely. Still, I had never come home this early before. This time, by chance, I saw my dad's mistress kneeling in the courtyard, her belly 8 or 9 months pregnant. She looked miserable, completely different from the arrogant woman who once came to provoke me. I walked straight past her without sparing a glance. She suddenly cried out, Samantha, you and your mom can't be this heartless. Your mom sent your dad to prison. Now she's trying to take back the money and the villa he gave me. She's forcing me and my baby into a dead end. I'm carrying the only male heir of the Chu family. Her voice was sharp and pitiful, as if she were the one most wronged in the world. My steps paused. Standing above her on the steps, I looked down coldly. When you chose to be the mistress, destroying someone else's family, you should have known this day would come. As someone who benefited from the pain she caused, she deserved neither sympathy nor mercy. Hearing the noise outside, my mom came out to greet me personally. You're home early? I replied lightly. She didn't question why I left school. After all, I would be leaving soon. Whether I followed school rules or not had become irrelevant. Dinner was toast my mom personally baked. She spread the cheese evenly over the toast and handed it to me. "Serena," she said, "remember this. Yesterday belongs to those who chose to abandon you. You can't stay submerged in the past forever, stuck in place. What matters is making those who hurt you pay the price for everything they've done." Just like she did. I had thought she simply wanted to divide assets with my dad, but I never imagined that she'd go even further, quietly, decisively sending my father to prison on economic charges. She ignored all his begging and even went after his mistress relentlessly. Every gift he had given her, cars, houses, jewelry, clothes, was taken back one by one. My mom led by example, showing me exactly how to fight back. As her daughter, how could I be any less? The next day at school, Chloe abandoned her usual arrogance and walked toward me with a cup of milk tea, trying her best to look sweet and pitiful. "Samantha, I was wrong," she said softly. "I shouldn't have been greedy and wanted to go to the same university as Ryan. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been dragged into that report." Halfway through, she stopped, as if the rest was too embarrassing to say. Her eyes were filled with tears, her face full of guilt as she looked at me. She bit her lip and whispered, Anyway, I'm really sorry. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I just hope you won't stay mad at Ryan anymore. He really loves you. If you make up with him, you can punish me however you want." I raised a brow. "Really?" Chloe nodded eagerly, though a glint of calculation flashed in her eyes. Seeing this, I smirked wickedly, then suddenly popped open the lid of the milk tea. Under everyone's shocked gazes, without a single warning, I dumped the entire cup over her head. "Then I hope you get out of my sight. Don't let me see you again. This pitiful act of yours is disgusting, just like my father's mistress. Such pathetic, laughable tricks." Caught off guard, Chloe was drenched from head to toe. Brown milk tea streamed down her hair and cheeks, soaking through her white school uniform instantly, staining it heavily and sticking it tightly to her skin. She looked utterly miserable. Just then, Ryan returned from morning patrol and happened to see the scene. He rushed over, quickly taking off his jacket and wrapping it around her. Chloe collapsed into his arms, clutching his collar and sobbing. "Ryan, I just wanted to be the middleman and help you and Samantha make up. I didn't think she hated me this much. She did that in front of everyone." There is a certain art to speaking through implication. Leaving sentences half-finished invites imagination. And Chloe was manipulative to the core. Her voice had been so soft when apologizing to me that no one else heard a thing. All they saw was me splashing her without explanation. Just as Chloe wished, the misunderstanding toward me deepened even further. Ryan glanced at the milk tea cup still in my hand, barely suppressing his anger. "Samantha, you went too far this time." His eyes were full of disappointment. I laughed sharply. "Isn't this exactly what you want to see? If I don't act a little cruel, I'd be letting down you, head of the disciplinary committee, who accused me of misconduct. Or should I have been even colder? Maybe I should have watched you get beaten to death by that gang without lifting a finger. Then today, your little childhood sweetheart wouldn't just be drenched in milk tea. She'd be the one getting harassed every single day by those thugs." Taking advantage of the situation, I revealed half the truth, half concealed. Chloe genuinely paled in fear. Chloe clutched tightly onto Ryan's sleeve, her voice trembling. "Ryan, what do I do if he tells everyone about what happened between me and Marcus Lee? I'll lose my recommendation quota." Panic made her voice crack, turning it soft and teary. But this time, Ryan didn't comfort her. He pulled his sleeve away coldly. "Then that's what you deserve." Idiots are always like that, unable to resist even the slightest provocation. Afraid that I'd expose her true colors in front of everyone, Chloe stupidly went to hire a group of thugs to frame me. But she didn't expect that the people she found had already been tamed by her ex-boyfriend, Marcus Lee. Their deal had just been made when they secretly reported everything to Marcus. Marcus was furious. He smashed a knockoff phone on the ground and cursed, "That damn woman. She provoked me like she wasn't afraid of dying. We slept together, she used me, and when she got bored, she tried to walk away like nothing happened. Because of her, I ended up in jail. My leg nearly got beaten useless. Now I'm supposed to let her go? Not a chance." Marcus came to see me in private, wanting to work together. He said, "Chloe and Ryan treated you like crap. Don't you want to get revenge?" I toyed with my brand new iPhone 17 and looked up lazily. How? Thinking I was agreeing, Marcus's eyes lit up with excitement. Like this, you pretend you've made up with Ryan and lure him out. Then, he animatedly revealed his entire plan, not realizing that the phone I held behind my back had a tiny red dot flashing on the screen, recording every word. A week before the college entrance exam, the school gave us leave. The senior students left campus one after another. Chloe took light, hesitant steps and looked at Ryan pitifully. Ryan, can you walk me home? Samantha hates me so much. I'm afraid she'll retaliate once I'm alone. Ryan replied absent-mindedly. She's not like that. His gaze scanned the crowd over and over. I hadn't come to school in nearly a week. Before the break, Ryan had messaged me and asked me to meet him today at the school gate to pick up some review materials. But he'd waited almost half an hour and still hadn't seen me. Anxiety and unease churned in his chest. Chloe hadn't expected that her attempt to play the victim would receive such a cold response. Unwilling to give up, she took a couple more steps toward him. But. Before she could finish, Ryan snapped in frustration. Chloe, enough with the but. You know clearly that from beginning to end, Samantha has been the real victim. If you hadn't provoked those people first, I wouldn't have been beaten up trying to fix your mess. Samantha stepped in to save me and to help you. Can you stop thinking the worst of her? The more he spoke, the more worked up he became, his eyes filled with memories. I already regretted enough. Regret listening to your terrible idea to report her for misconduct, making her lose her recommendation quota. Chloe froze for a moment, then shrieked defensively. What do you mean, my terrible idea? Ryan, don't dump all the blame on me. You're the one whose pride couldn't handle it. You admired Samantha, but... And on the other hand, you hated him for stealing your spotlight. You only used my name as an excuse to push things along so you could smear a stain on his perfect life. In his anger, Ryan completely lost control and spilled every bit of scheming between them. Students were still passing by the school gate, and Ryan instantly panicked. In desperation, he slapped her hard across the face. Shut up. Among the passing traffic near the school, a Maybach quietly hid in the shadows. I sat in the back seat, watching the scene unfold through the tinted window. Marcus Lee was seated beside me. He let out a cold laugh. Those two tried to set up others, and now they've torn each other apart first. Well then, I'm gonna give them a proper greeting next. As for everything else, leave it to you, Miss Samantha. He stepped out of the car decisively. The driver asked me in a low voice, Miss, where to now? I looked up and said calmly, Police station. Chloe had woven her own cocoon, but that didn't mean I needed to be the one pushing her into it. After parting on bad terms with Ryan, Chloe headed home alone. But when she passed a dim alleyway, she suddenly heard someone call her name. Chloe. She turned instinctively and immediately froze in terror at the face staring back at her. Marcus Lee grinned. Didn't expect that after all this time. You still remember me. Looks like you've been thinking about me night after night. He took slow, dangerous steps toward her. Chloe tried to steady her voice. What? What do you want? You arrogant little butch, Marcus hissed. You begged me to rape you, remember? Don't tell me you forgot that part. Chloe trembled violently as the realization hit her like ice water. She had lifted a rock only to smash her own foot. She stumbled backward, her voice shaking uncontrollably. Don't come near me. This is illegal. Her terrified scream pierced the alleyway, but it was abruptly cut off by the approaching sound of police sirens. Near midnight, Ryan was summoned to the police station. Through the glass wall, he saw Chloe curled up in the corner, hugging herself tightly, trembling uncontrollably. What happened? He asked. A nearby officer whispered. A thug almost assaulted her. Luckily, we arrived in time. She wasn't harmed, but she seems badly frightened, mentally shaken. She keeps shaking her head whenever we ask questions. We had no choice but to call her emergency contact. That led us to you. Go talk to her. Calm her down. Ryan nodded and stepped into the interrogation room. The moment Chloe saw him, she lunged toward him like grabbing the last bit of hope. Ryan, you're finally here. It was Samantha. She sent Marcus Lee to get revenge on me. Her voice still trembled, but she pronounced every word clearly and loudly, like she was terrified someone would miss a single syllable. The officers exchanged looks. Ryan frowned. just about to ask if there had been some misunderstanding, when my voice drifted through the silence, cold and calm. Luckily, I filed a report ahead of time. Otherwise, who knows how much dirt you'd be throwing on me right now. Chloe's entire body stiffened. She jerked her head up. I was standing at the doorway, arms crossed, leaning casually against the frame, as if I had been there for a long time. She screamed in disbelief. "Samantha, why are you here?" A police officer spoke up for me. "Chloe, you've misunderstood Samantha. The only reason we arrived in time was because she called the police first and provided us with the exact information we needed." It was almost funny. She had crafted this entire nightmare with her own hands, fully intending for me to fall into the abyss. Yet in the end, she nearly dragged herself into ruin, while I, ironically, became the hero who saved her. Chloe clearly couldn't accept such an outcome. She shrieked hysterically, "Impossible, absolutely impossible. All of this must be Samantha's plan, a conspiracy, and all of you are covering for her. It's not fair to me." Her distorted, crazed expression bordered on madness. The officers hurried toward her, trying to calm her. "Miss Chloe, please calm down first." I watched the scene coldly. Then I turned to the lead officer. "Officer, it seems Chloe might be suffering from persecutory delusions. She keeps insisting I'm out to hurt her. I suggest arranging psychological intervention and a mental health evaluation. Otherwise, if she has another incident in the future, I'm afraid I'll end up being listed as a suspect." After speaking, I didn't spare a glance for anyone else. I turned and walked away. "Samantha." Ryan rushed after me. "What is it?" I didn't turn around. My voice carried clear distance and indifference. He flinched at the coldness in my tone. His Adam's apple bobbed as he whispered, "Actually, when Chloe suggested reporting you so she could get the recommendation, I hesitated." "So?" I asked. I just thought your grades were so good that losing one recommendation quota wouldn't affect you. That's why He forced out the shameless truth, then quickly tried to patch things up as if afraid I'd slip further away. "But don't worry, I'll tell the school everything. I'll clear your name. If you blame me or hate me now, I'll accept it. I'll wait for you for a year, 2 years, however long it takes. Once we both get into Greenfield University, no one will interfere with us again. I'll stay with you through the next 4 years and make up for everything I owe you." Another round of self-righteous, deep affection. Empty, blind, and delusional. I couldn't help letting out a soft laugh. Finally turning back to look at him, I said, "Whatever makes you happy." Ryan returned to school and personally confessed everything he had done. Chloe's recommendation quota was revoked, and his once brilliant reputation was permanently stained by an unavoidable shadow. The day before the college entrance exam, everyone returned to school to pick up their exam permits. The looks directed at Ryan now carried varying degrees of doubt and suspicion. But he didn't notice. His eyes remained fixed on the classroom doorway, as the stack of permits on the podium grew smaller and smaller, and finally only the one with my name remained. Panic engulfed him completely. He hurried to the homeroom teacher's office, his voice trembling with suppressed anxiety. "Teacher, why didn't Samantha come to pick up her permit?" The teacher froze, frowning slightly. "You didn't know?" "Samantha completed her withdrawal procedures back in March. She's moving to the UK with her mother." He checked the schedule and added, "Their flight is tomorrow, around the time you start your language exam." "What?" The word exploded in Ryan's mind like thunder. His blood roared, his ears buzzed. He couldn't hear a single thing the teacher said afterward. He spun around, sprinted back to the classroom, grabbed the lonely exam permit with my name on it, and ran straight toward the school gates. He ran wildly, one thought tearing at him over and over. "You said we'd take Greenfield's exam together. Why are you suddenly leaving?" His chest tightened painfully. He had to find me. He had to ask. But when he arrived at the Villa District, the security guard stopped him cold. Ryan practically begged, "I'm looking for Samantha. She's my girlfriend. We had a misunderstanding. Please let me in." The security guard's face remained expressionless as he delivered the final blow. That villa was sold last month. Hearing that, Ryan completely collapsed into hopelessness. He staggered back 2 steps. "So that's how it was." Quietly, without a sound, I had already arranged my departure long ago. A heavy, suffocating sadness slammed into his chest, stealing his breath away. Just when despair swallowed him whole, he suddenly remembered the homeroom teacher's words. The flight is tomorrow, around the same time as your exam. He still had a chance. Clinging to that thought like a drowning man grabbing a life raft, Ryan felt a surge of desperate hope. He immediately hailed a cab and rushed to the airport. I had no idea what complicated emotions were raging inside Ryan. After selling the villa, my mom and I stayed in a hotel. When the day came for us to leave, we took a taxi straight to the airport. In the departure hall, I pushed my suitcase forward, a faint melancholy swirling in my chest. My mom, sharp as always, sensed the tiny shift in my mood. "Serena, what's wrong?" she asked softly. I shook my head. "Nothing. It's just suddenly realizing I'm leaving the place I've lived my whole life. It feels a little hard. Maybe I'll never come back. After all, there's nothing left here worth staying for." Just as my thoughts drifted away, a familiar voice pierced through the noisy crowd. Clear and unmistakable. "Samantha." I turned around in surprise. Ryan was running toward me, out of breath. Instinctively, I glanced at my phone, June 7th, 2026, 07. He should have been sitting in his exam right now. Within seconds, he reached me. For the first time, I noticed the dark circles under his eyes, the exhaustion in his face, as if he hadn't slept at all. But before I could even ask why he was here, he already began accusing me in a hurt tone. "Samantha, you promised we'd take Greenfield University's exam together." My mom shot him a displeased look and whispered to me, "You still haven't finished dealing with this?" I gave her a reassuring smile. "Don't worry, Mom. It will be over soon." I pulled Ryan aside to a quiet corner. Then I spoke directly. "There's something you never knew. My mom is British. My father's affair broke her completely. She has no attachment to China anymore. She decided long ago to take me back to the UK, and the recommendation to Greenfield University was my only chance to stay." I looked straight into his eyes. "But you destroyed it with your own hands." Ryan's lips trembled. After a long moment, he whispered, "If I had known, I would never have done it." Even now, he was trying to justify himself. I cut him off. "I'm glad you didn't know. I'm glad you reported me. At least it let me see your true nature sooner. Otherwise, for someone like you, I would have abandoned my mother, left her alone in this country, and that would have been my real regret." With that, I turned away without hesitation, giving him only the final view of my resolute back. All that awaited me was a future bright as starlight. And as for him, for the rest of his life, he would remain trapped in the remorse of this very day.